Hello, it's Leontine from Little Lovely Crafts. Welcome to day 5 of my Halloween series. Today I'm sharing an all black and white card, which is a bit of a challenge for me, but I think I did it and I hope you like the video. I'm starting off by coloring these images that I'm going to use in my scene. If you want to know which stamp sets I used, you can read them in the description down below or on my blog. Since it's a black and white card, I will only be using my gray markers, and I've got a few C markers and a few N markers, and you can see which one I'm using by looking at the video. I'm adding a few white accents with my white gel pen, and then these images are all done. Moving on to my card itself. I have used the largest slimline die from Fawn, and I die cut it a few times so I can make all of the layers with the same stitching on it. I already die cut all of the parts I need to make a spooky castle, and then you see I have die cut the stitch tree border, the grassy hill border from the mushroom border set, and of course my spooky fence border. Before I'm going to use my distress oxide inks on it, I wanted to mask off a circle that is going to be my moon. I got a piece of scrap cardstock and I'm putting a full stick post-it note on top of it. Since the only Fawn circle dies I have are the outside in stitched circle dies, I'm going to use that one, and that will be the perfect size for my moon. I'm going to run it through my die cut machine, and then I can peel off my little post-it note and stick it down on my background. I'm using my castle to figure out where I want the moon to be, and then I am placing my post-it note onto the paper. I will only use 2 colors of Distress Oxide ink on my card, and those colors are Hickory Smoke and Black Soot. I was looking at my moon and decided it was too white, and you could also see the stitching from the die. So what I did was I went over it with my brush, and I didn't put any extra ink on it. I just used the ink that was in my brush, and then it got a little bit too gray, so I got out my Yeti ink from Fawn to make it a little more white again. Now that my sky is all done, I'm going to add some liquid stardust mixed with water drops on there and pick up the excess water with a paper towel. For the other pieces of my card, I'm going to repeat using Hickory Smoke and Black Soot, and you might notice that I'm going from light to dark. So my fence is going to be the darkest at the bottom and the grass is the lightest. I will also use my liquid stardust mixture on these panels, and then I will set it off to the side and I'm going to work on my castle. Now for the most part I'm only using hickory smoke, but to add a little more interest in the castle, I am also going to darken up the extra additions on the top. And I will use my brick stencil from Fawn to create a nice stenciled effect. I wanted to add some darker drops of ink, and I used my distress ink cubes, the tiny ones in hickory smoke and black soot to do it. I just put some of it on my glass media mat, added some water, and then with another brush I splattered on some of those ink drops. I almost forgot to mask off my moon, but I quickly grabbed that little scrap piece that came out of my die and placed it on top of my moon to protect it from all of those dark ink drops. Now the ink on my castle is dry, I am going to assemble it. I added the two columns first, and then I'm going to cut the little piece that goes in the center just to fit between the two columns. Then I can place the brick stencil on top of it and go over it with some hickory smoke again. And once that is done, I can attach all of the extra pieces. Just when I was going to glue the window on top of my castle, I thought, oops, I forgot to put a background in. You could of course make a reveal wheel card out of this, but I decided to go simple today and just get a piece of scrap and ink it up in the same color as the rest of my card and place it behind the castle. Now I can attach everything to my main panel and use my stamps. I remembered to heat emboss my sentiment before attaching it to the card, so I just got my little spooky fence border and I used some anti-static powder and I stamped the sentiment Happy Halloween with some Lawn Fawn clear ink, and I used some white embossing powder on top of it. As you can see, I'm raising up some of my items with some foam squares from scrapbook adhesives. Some of my foam squares are 2 millimeters thick and others are thin to get like some different dimensions. I wanted to add a nice border to my card, so I went through my stash to see what fits with the card, and I decided my autumn sparkle cardstock was the best option, and I found this really nice dark blue kind of color that almost looks like a black color, and I think it complements my card. I applied Shari's trick to save some cardstock. I got out my smaller slimline die, I placed it on top, and I die cut the center out. No one will notice anyway because you're covering it up with your front panel, and I can just save that piece for another time. I'm using a piece of white cardstock to create my card base, and I'm adding my front panel. I also put a piece of white cardstock in between the gap that I created by saving some of that sparkle cardstock. And that finishes up my card. Even though I didn't share an interactive card this time, I still hope you liked my video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to get notified when my new video is online. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye!